Hey guys, so I'm going to be reading the short story The Fingerprint Expert by Lucinda Rush. Before this story begins, there are a few points I would like you to keep in mind. The fingerprints you are born with are yours for life. There is no such thing as a 90% match. With prints, it is always 100%. True, there are matches that we know belong to the victim or the accused, but they are useless in court. For instance, if you are pushing an object, prints get distorted and cannot be used in evidence. If someone throws an object, there will be a peculiar kind of blurring to the print, a strange wave pattern. Such prints are useless for identification purposes, but they reveal if something was hurled or thrown by the pattern of the smudging, and so they certainly tell me something. My story begins in the summer of 2008. My husband Mark and a group of friends, 12 of them in all, had a strong desire to leave a colder than usual England far behind. I found a house to rent in the Var regions of France, big enough for us all. We had some good times that summer, spending 3 weeks together talking late at night under the stars around the pool. By day, the sky was lilac and white. The house was honey-colored with shutters of cornflower blue. The topaz pool beckoned me to it every morning. At night, it was lit, and I loved giving my body to its dark, inky water under a sky that held galaxies far away. One particular warm day, no one really wanted to go outside, even in the shade, except for Don. He was a Michelin chef who had left work for a while to get treatment for his mobile phone phobias. He couldn't even bear to be in the room with one. He developed problems if someone even mentioned their phone. How difficult could that make life? I had known Don since our time together at senior school. He spent many hours that holiday outside in the shade making marinades and trying out new dishes on the barbecue to cook for us, usually singing too. I could tell he was getting better. Anyway, this particular day, Hannah, who was sitting across the old granite table in the kitchen, reached over and picked up a piece of cheese with a fine skin on. Being a fingerprint expert, it was not unnatural for me to mention that I could lift an excellent print from the cheese. Others asked, could I pick up their prints from the box of chocolates in the fridge? Yes, of course. What about from the depths of the pool? Yes, possibly, I said, but not with the equipment I have here. I only had my basic kit with me, force of habit. Hannah set me a challenge. Okay, how about this for a holiday game? You go out of the room and we will touch a chocolate. You can take our prints first, and then your job is to identify who picked up which sweet. Like who done it? Well, I had the kit and my computer to check the matches from the chocolate to the prints, so I took the challenge. I told them that the sweets would be dangerous to eat after I had dusted them with my fluorescent powders and then left the room. They seemed impressed when I successfully identified everyone and even found a print that didn't belong to any of them. It belonged to Anna, the pool cleaner. One Friday, about 6 months later at work, a case came in from a particular vicious rape. The victim's toes and fingers were broken in the attack, and she was left traumatized and unable to describe the attacker or recount important details that could lead to the assailant's capture. However, a single fingerprint was found on her glasses that didn't belong to her. At work, we trawled our database and linked up with others throughout the UK to try to identify the attacker with negative results. I had a particular interest in the case as the young girl was abducted from a bus stop just 12 miles from my home. Life is full of coincidences, isn't it? And that is why one Saturday, when I was alone in the house, I took out the mini data base of fingerprints I had kept from that holiday and checked all the male prints against the one found on the victim's glasses. I'm still not sure why I did that. It seemed to take a nanosecond for the field to show match. I breathed slowly as I clicked on the ID box and closed my eyes. I knew when I opened them, the name of the person would be there. That group that I spent 3 weeks with in Var were my friends. Some of them I had known since I was 11 years old. Tears like glass splinters scratched my eyes. I blinked, and the name Mark Hutchinson flashed on and off in the ID box. My husband. I heard his keys turn in the lock downstairs. I turned around to wait until he came upstairs into the little office so that I could look at his eyes. Everything in the room and the house turned black and white. All colors vanished as if by magic. He called up to me, "Would you like to have tea in the garden? I have got some fresh Austrian apple cake from the new pastry in the Great Western Arcade in town." As he walked slowly up the stairs, I turned towards the window. It was as if the clouds had flattened in the sky and dropped like giant buttermilk pancakes on the floor around me.